Howdy, gang. Happy Friday lunchtime. All right, so by now, you probably know that Pelosi is trying to shove down everybody's throat the reconciliation bill today. That includes all this pre K, kindergarten, you know, Medicare hearing, all this crazy, silly stuff trying to get through. And we've got obviously some representatives that are for stuff, against stuff, whatever would be, but they're trying to shove this one through. The interesting part in here, at least to me, all right, is there's $100 billion in there earmarked for immigration reform. And before everybody starts talking about, oh, gee, this is, because this is what the media is trying to talk about and everything, is the Southern invasion. Okay, that's not what this part is about. This is, again, trying to sneak in a benefit, if you will, for their big donors. And you have to know a little bit about how this works to figure out what it is. Okay, now, y'all know what I've done for the last 20 years of my life is recruiting, all right? And primarily been in IT lately, but before that it was in engineering, and before that it was in accounting and finance. So, I've covered pretty much everything with the exception of the science part of your STEM people, science, technology, engineering, and math, okay? So technology, engineering, accounting being math. So leave out the science because I've never had any desire to try to do medical personnel. But this is what is in the bill. And this is how it affects you guys, all right, regardless of what your job is. They are trying, in this bill, they want to make it easier for somebody who is here on a work permit, okay, which is an H-1B, for those of you who do know it, that's the visa, okay, to get a green card, and inevitably get on a path to citizenship. Now, how does this affect you? Well, and why are they doing this? The majority of H-1Bs, the majority of people that get work permits to come in the United States are in the IT space right now. And the reason that the Democrats want this is because the Microsofts, the Ciscos, the Googles, the Facebooks, they want to bring over all these foreign nationals, primarily from India and China, to work for their companies. Why? Because they can get these employees dirt cheap. And let me explain to you how this works, guys, because a lot of people don't understand this. To make matters easy, the math easy. Let's say the company has $100,000 budgeted to fill a software developer's position. Okay. Well, what they could do is find an American citizen who's willing to do this job for $100,000, and they meet their budget. Okay. But what they'd rather do is hire a foreign national to come over here and do it, because they can pay a foreign national, as we call them, H-1B shops, okay, one of these companies that holds the visa, brings them over to the United States. They can pay that company $90,000. That company says, we'll bring you to the United States and we'll pay you $50,000. The company saves 10 grand. The H-1B shop makes 40 grand. And this Indian, Chinese, whatever would be, foreign national gets $50,000. Now, $50,000 in India, you're a wealthy person. $50,000 in China, you are a wealthy person. $50,000 in Silicon Valley, no, you're not. Okay. But here's the other point, is those people the workers have no way to ask for more. You want to come to the United States to make $50,000 versus making $5,000 working in India, okay, or whatever it would be, or I don't care, Singapore. They wind up indentured servants because if they decline it, all their H-1B shop says to them is, fine, we'll put you on the next plane back to Delhi, and you're out of here. And they don't want to do that. They want to stay here because they can make more money. So they work for dirt cheap. How does this affect you? Well, this is what's in this new bill. And this affects all of us in regards to jobs. Because now if this goes through, why don't we bring truck drivers over from Poland? Why don't we bring retail store clerks up from Honduras? Because now if we can fast track them all to American work permits, the companies can pay a whole lot less. And considering you get a lot of these companies that support the Democrats, that's what they're trying to do. Follow the money, guys. It's always follow the money in politics. And this can affect your job. I know there's plenty of you, and I can say it too, who's had to train your foreign national replacement. That's what's coming. This, again, is the separation to get rid of the middle class, the rich, the corporations, and the poor, the workers. That's what it's going to. That's why they're trying to stuff this through in this reconciliation bill, and nobody's talking about it whatsoever. Because now if we can bring up all these people on the Southern invasion and fast track them to green cards or give them work permits or do whatever it would be, it's talking about, oh, gee, it'll be $5,000 to get your citizenship. Cost me more than that to get Mrs. P here to get her citizenship. Okay. But let's give them $450,000. Give all these people work permits, let them take American jobs, increase profits for the companies, reduce the standard of living for society as a whole. Because remember, the other thing this does, guys, bring all these people in, this drives housing costs up. Supply and demand again. You have a lot more people, you need a lot more housing. Well, you can't put up an apartment complex or build a house in a weekend. So everything goes up. So now your rent, your mortgage, my rent, my mortgage, whatever would be, goes up. Supply and demand in the food stores. There's more people, there ain't more food, so the cost goes up. So they're driving wages down and driving your cost of living up. This is how they plan on killing the middle class. That's all it is. And this is what's in the reconciliation bill that Nancy Pelosi is trying to shove through with a vote today. A lot of you guys have said you've been calling your senators, calling your representatives or whatever and saying, hell no. If this goes through, and again, if it goes through the House, then it's up to, again, like I said this morning, Manchin and Sinema to stop it, okay? Because if they decide to sign on to this, Joe's just going to rubber stamp everything. And then all of a sudden, you have not only a massive influx of people trying to get in the border through Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, but now you have JFK and you have LAX with massive amounts of immigrants coming in going, I got a visa, where do I go to work? I got a visa, where do I go to work? That's what's going on. And what it's going to come at the expense of is your job and your standard of living. Yes, they are trying to destroy the middle class. Bring in a bunch of low-paid workers who are indentured servants to the companies that hold their visas. And if they don't like it, fine, we'll put you on the next plane home. That's what's going on, guys. The American citizen is now the least likely to be helped by their own government. You have more rights in this country as an illegal or as a foreigner than you do if you're a citizen. Thanks, Joe. Have a good one. Pinball out.